All right, everyone, welcome to the January Q&A, and as always, let's get right to it. First question comes from Rachel. We posed a question to you. What is holding you back this year? What are the things that are stopping you from achieving your goals? From Rachel, my ability to maintain finances is holding me back. How do you know what to spend and where to spend it? That is a great question, and probably January is the perfect time to be having that discussion. What to spend and where to spend it. My mindset, look, we always need new gear, right? We're constantly in need of new gear, right? We're photographers. We need the toys. We can always justify it. We always have a way to justify it, and that's fine. My mindset is, how much more money can I make by making this investment? So if I seed this money, invest this money, what will my payback be? Will I make 2 times more, 3 times more, 5 times more? And then you get into those things which you can't really, right? It's just kind of fuzzy math. You can't really put a price on what the return on investment will be. And those are okay too, right? There's marketing exercises where they're more for awareness. There is no true ROI, but we have to constantly be thinking about this. So don't necessarily assume that every investment you make is going to have a hard or measurable ROI. Instead, balance it and understand that some investments, like a new lens, okay, well that new lens, let's call it a 50mm 1.2. It's a fast piece of glass, okay? That's going to allow me to shoot in low light situations without a flash. By shooting in low light situations without a flash, it's going to change the look of my imagery. By changing the look of my imagery, I can ultimately and hopefully charge more money for my products or services because I'll have a much more modern look, if you will, right? That has to be the mindset that you're going with going into 2016. Next question comes to us from Jules. Where do you find the right kind of help? Employees dedicated to my business, dependable, fits my brand, and knowledgeable without being annoying. Haha. Well, Jules, welcome to my world. As we've grown our company, one of the founding principles that I've tried to instill, not only in myself, but in the people I hire and in the people that are helping me hire more people, is to ensure that we could spend 8 to 12 hours with that person that we're hiring. Do they represent the brand? So when you ask the question, where do you find these people? Very difficult to find these people. We're dealing with a generation now that doesn't understand the concept of hard work. Everybody's a very special and unique snowflake, and they got hugs from their parents when they were kids. Well, when I was growing up, my parents hugged me, but they also gave me life lessons, and I think a little bit of that is missing. And so what I'm constantly looking for now are the right people, the people who want to work hard. Maybe they don't have the experience I need, and that's okay, but they have the right personality. And so that becomes the measuring stick when we're interviewing people. I'm not necessarily looking for the perfect resume. If you're the right person to train, I will bring you on my team because all those other things, work ethic, can't be taught. You either have a strong work ethic or you don't. You either take pride in the work you're doing or you don't. And for me, I take pride in my name. I take pride in putting my name on something, as I believe you do. Therefore, you have to surround yourself with people who feel the same way about it. So hopefully that helps. All right, next one, Steven. How do you determine your worth in a crowded market? That's a really tough one. Your worth is your worth. And I know that's I just pulled a Yoda on you. But your worth is determined by what you believe your value is. Don't associate your value compared to others in your marketplace. We are by far one of the highest priced photographers in the St. Louis market. I don't care what my competitors are charging. I know what I feel that I'm worth. I do not look, by the way, and say, oh, well, Susie Photography Studio is charging, $3,000 for the same services we're offering. That is not how I've built my business. Instead, I flip it. What I say is, I want to make this much money. What services, what products, what turn time do I need to offer to be able to charge this much money? And that's a completely different mindset. Forget what your competitors are doing. Find a way to stand out in the market versus worrying about what to charge in the market. Hopefully that makes sense. Next one comes from Tony. How do you define your ideal client? Tony, that has been the subject of many a Creative Live. Defining my ideal client, if I had to pick one sentence, if you will, one phrase, my ideal client is somebody who appreciates good photography. That would be it. Now, there's other descriptors that I can come up with, right? They are young, they are trendy, they're paying for their own wedding. My client is female versus dealing with the groom. I'm typically dealing with the bride. There's all these other descriptors. But the one thing that has to hold true is they appreciate good photography, because there's a lot of people out there who just don't give a shit, right? They just want any photographers. I got a friend who's a photographer. If you have a friend who's a photographer, unless that friend's me, then you really don't care probably about photography. I mean, they could be you too, Tony, but you get my point. It's like, I got a friend who's got a camera. Yeah, they got a Rebel. They're showing up at your event. They got a kit lens. They've got no flash. They don't know what they're doing. They've never shot a wedding. That's not really somebody who appreciates photography. I want somebody who's going to appreciate photography and the work and effort that you and I are going to put into all this. So it's a good question. All right, Steve, when is the best time to invest in a personal assistant? I can't get any of my big ideas done. That's very frustrating. Steve, welcome to the land of ideas here at Cincotta Inc. You typically have to invest. Take assistant off the table. When does it make sense to invest in anything? Whether it's more staffing, a bigger space, you have to invest in your future. A lot of times, right? You hear the phrase all the time. It's chicken and egg. It is truly chicken and egg. It's not just a saying here. I can't grow my business if I don't have the people to grow my business. I can't get the people to grow my business if I don't have that future business, right? So it's this insane mindset. You have to take a risk. You have to gamble on yourself and gamble on the future of your company. I have gambled on the future of this business no less than 5 to 6 times in the last 3 years. I'm betting on me. I'm betting on my vision for the future. And so, Steve, you've got to bet on your vision of the future. There's no other way to do it. All right, Wendy. How do I fake that I am my target client? Wendy, that just made me smile because, again, many photographers I talk to, they struggle with this idea of, well, I'm not really my target client. I don't care what kind of car I drive. I don't care what kind of jeans I wear. There's nothing wrong with that. But your target client, if you want a client that's going to spend more money, does care. And here's a perfect example. If you ever go into Louis Vuitton, maybe you're not, you hear me talk about Louis Vuitton all the time, and maybe you would make the argument, well, I don't like Louis Vuitton. I could care less. I would just be happy with a plastic bag. Fine. But go into Louis Vuitton. What do the service people there, what do they wear? They're wearing all black and everything is sharp and clean and pressed. And it's not faded. It's not a faded black, right? It's brand new and it's somewhat, even though it's black, it's somewhat neutral, right? It's not flashy. It's not all these wild patterns. So I don't know, maybe that person behind the counter is not a Louis Vuitton client in the proper sense. But by the same token, they don't look like they're not a Louis Vuitton client. Does that make sense? Right? So you're talking about things like your nails, your hair, your makeup, right? Wear makeup. Do your fingernails. Like, just look well presented. You don't have to go out and spend thousands of dollars on a wardrobe. You don't have to go out and buy a brand new car. But you also can't look like, you just came off the bus and you just got here and your clothes are all wrinkled and you don't know how to wear makeup and they're not going to relate to you on any level. And I know a lot of that sounds so superficial, but that's the reality of the world we live in. I mean, we're photographers. Image is what we do. And so we have to be part of that image in some form or fashion, right? I mean, look at me right now. I'm a scruffy beard. I'm sitting here in sweatpants as we're filming this. Well, I have a wedding tomorrow. When I show up at that wedding, I'm going to be clean shaven, and I'm going to be dressed nice, and I'm going to fit in as best I can with my couple. I would not go to the wedding looking like this. Next question comes from Laura. How do you juggle workflow time and having to wear 10 hats all the same time? Laura, I wish I had an answer for you right now. I've been juggling 10 hats for the last, call it 8-9 years. With no end in sight. I don't know the answer. And it's interesting because I was just talking to a couple of people here the other day about this. A typical CEO would be able to kind of step away, walk out of the office 4 o'clock, go play golf, go do whatever they want to do with their time. I can't. I'm involved in every aspect of my business. And I know in my heart that the reason my business is so successful is because I'm involved in every aspect of it. I still photograph weddings. I still show up at client meetings. I still show up at presentations when they come in to see their images. We still send out thank you gifts. I still handwrite my thank you notes to my clients personally. Nobody does that. And so I don't know that I am the right person to talk about work-life balance. What I can tell you is I think work-life balance is a myth. I think people are lying to all of us, and we just keep chasing it forever. Instead, what I can tell you is you are your business, you are your brand. And I take that to heart every single day, and I suggest you do as well. Next question comes from Barbara. I need advice on culling images, the editing and finishing the final images, ordering process, pretty much everything after the photo shoot. Barbara, my first recommendation would be to consider outsourcing. I talk about it all the time. Look at a company called Evolve Edits. I also talk about that all the time. It's a company, obviously, I own. But outsourcing is going to be a huge weight off your shoulders. We have been outsourcing for 7 years now, and I've never looked back. Yeah, I still mess around with one image here, one image there, but I'm not doing the heavy lifting of editing 1,500, 2,000 images. It makes no sense. Your time is better spent someplace else. If you really have this itch to edit, which I do, by the way, I love editing. I enjoy it. I just know it doesn't make me any money. And so instead, what I'd rather do is go out and make money, do the things that are going to make me money. And so what you want to do, quick workflow, I've talked about it before, but quick workflow is you're going to get back from a wedding, you're going to download all those images to a hard drive. You are then going to back up to a secondary hard drive immediately. You're going to back up all to that secondary hard drive. You're then going to either edit those images yourself or you're going to outsource them. From there, you're going to render everything as a JPEG, full res JPEG, and you're going to use those full res JPEGs to do your client presentation. And that's how we present the images to our clients. They're full version JPEGs. Those full version JPEGs are then going to be uploaded to their shoot-proof gallery so that they can see all their images online. This workflow is completely streamlined and allows us to move very, very quickly. Now the images are always in 2 different places. There's other videos I've done on workflow, so check those out. Next question comes to us from David. I have a lot of great thematic ideas for shoots, but very little direction in what to do with them when they are complete. I can photograph a fantastic model with a parachute dress in a cool location, but what do I do with that work? Do I use it to promote more cool parachute location dress sessions, submit to magazines, or just for the fun of it? How do you monetize your imagination with stuff like this? Well, hey, this is the kind of stuff I'm doing all the time. And what I have found, the way I have found to monetize it is I'm pitching them the magazines. I want to get published, right? So getting published directly isn't going to make you a lot of money. In fact, a lot of times magazines won't even pay you money at all for those. They're just going to give you the promotion. Wonderful. Now I'm issuing a press release highlighting that we've been published in XYZ magazine. From there, I'm taking that publicity, I'm putting it on my website. I'm taking those images, putting it on our website. So now people who are coming to our website are going, oh my God, his images are everywhere. I'm printing those images. I'm dropping those images off at vendors. Maybe it's the makeup artist. Maybe it's the dress manufacturer. And so all these things start working together, dovetailing. But if you believe that every time you photograph somebody, you're going to make money, somebody's lying to you, because it doesn't work that way. Even at this stage of the game, it doesn't work that way for me. I still have to work at doing something with those images. But we're missing the most obvious thing. When you're doing these photo shoots and you're involving your imagination and your ideas and your creativity, you're learning, you're growing, you're becoming a better photographer. Those things are priceless. And so if you ask me, I'm willing to do that just to grow as an artist, because now I can come back and photograph my brides, photograph my portrait sessions, photograph my seniors, families, and have a better, more keen and honed in eye. I have watched my work, just by doing these shoots you're talking about, I've watched my work in the last 2 to 3 years improve tenfold just by doing these kinds of concept shoots, if you will. And I can't stress the importance of them enough. All right, next question comes to us from Missy. Last question. Knowing and believing in what I do and the value of it, what are the basic things I need to do that will keep me ahead in the market? That's a really good question, Missy. I can say that I invest my time constantly in trying to recreate myself, reinvent myself. Again, as I was just saying on the previous question, if you look at my work from this year to 2 or 3 years ago, it has increased tenfold. So how do you stay ahead of the market? You've got to stay active. You've got to stay in the trenches. Do not remove yourself from those things. The minute you remove yourself from the trenches, from meeting with wedding vendors, if you're a wedding photographer, from doing your research, from going to the conferences, things like Shutterfest, the minute you start removing yourself from those items, you're out of touch. You no longer understand the trends. You no longer are relevant, quite frankly. I mean, think about how many of your competitors are there in the marketplace that are 10-year studios, but they're going out of business. Why are they going out of business? They stopped remaining relevant. They stopped reinventing themselves. We do a lot of one-on-one consulting, and I've been doing more consulting recently with 10-year studios than I have been with new upstarts. And it's really interesting for me to talk to these 10-year studios because somewhere along the line, they lost touch with reality. A portrait today is not what a portrait was 10 years ago. Clients don't want that. Tastes have changed. Trends have changed. But you can look at photographers out there and they're still doing the same static, non-creative stuff. Is it well lit? It's beautifully lit. Is it well posed? It's beautifully posed. Are there leading lines and composition? Beautiful composition. But it's boring. It's not what people want, right? And so you've got to understand what people want. And the only way to understand what people want is to be in the shit with them and understand and deal with your clients, and don't force your ideas and trends on them. work with them, collaborate with them, look at fashion magazines, what's going on in the world of fashion, and somewhere in there find the balance and identity that is you. So all great questions this month. I hope all of you have a great and incredible 2016. This is just the beginning. Let's get started. Let's kick some ass this year.